What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. It's been a while, but I wanted to follow up on the video that I made. Excuse me. I wanted to follow up on the video that I made previously about, why everyone's trading in their Sportster or Iron 83 or Iron 1200. I'm gonna level with you. I've been struggling with this question for the last few weeks, probably longer than that, but I've been having this internal debate. I know that I've been having this internal debate about whether I should upgrade to a different bike. Some of you who know me well have been in this conversation with me. I've been looking at Street Bobs. I've been looking at the Lowrider S. Probably my top two choices right now. But the plans that I'm making for next year, I want to do longer trips, and I know that the Sportster is probably not the best bike suited for long distance. But at the same time, I can't deny that the Iron 83 or the Sportster just has a certain mojo about the bike that I just can't deny. And as much as I'd like to have multiple bikes in my stable, I know right now it's not the most practical. I have a smaller garage. It's filled with kid stuff, and it's just not practical. I don't want to be paying insurance for two different bikes. So in this video today, we're going to talk about 6 reasons why I want to keep the Sportster. I want to keep my Iron 83. And I'll just make this general, like 6 reasons why people in general would like to keep their Sportster. Alright, so let's get into it. Before we get into the 6 reasons, I'm going to throw up a clip here. That's kind of been my go-to to talk in a live video setting, so that it kind of feels like we're in a dialogue, but then you guys can still see the my ride videos. And truth be told, I don't really like talking in my videos that much. To me, it kind of takes away from the just being in the moment when I'm riding a motorcycle. So usually I'll just film something so that I don't really have to talk. But I do like talking live per se, so you guys can get the best of both worlds, hopefully. Reason number 1. This is not the most important reason, but it's definitely a huge reason. And the Sportster, or in my opinion, the Iron 883, is just one of the best looking bikes out there, bar none. It is probably the best looking bike to me in the Harley lineup. Now, a lot of people will disagree with me on that, which is fine. That's why we all have different bikes and different tastes. But to me, it is one of the best looking bikes. The lines are clean. Everything's proportional. The rake, I love the thin wheels, or I love the spokes. I love the tuck and roll seat. I wish it was a little bit more comfortable. I would have kept it stock. I think it's a perfect looking bike in my opinion. And when you are starting out with such a great blank canvas, the sky's the limit. You can just keep modding the bike out how you please, and it just makes it look so much better, and you can customize it. So that's reason number 1. All right, so reason number 2. This is a huge factor for me right now, just because there's a lot of costs. The Iron 83 is relatively cheap when you think about the Harley line. When you think about the more expensive Harleys out there, right? So it's cheap in terms of having to insure it. Since it is a lower CC bike, the insurance isn't all that high, and I've upgraded my Iron 83 to a 1250, and I'm still paying, insurance rates for an 883. So those are all kind of factoring into my decision of why I want to keep my Sportster. The payments are super low. I traded in a Kawasaki Z650, and so there was a little bit of equity in the bike that didn't really have that much in terms of payments. A lot of times I was trying to just double up on my payments so that I can quickly pay it off and not have too much interest. I'm fortunate enough to be in a situation where I could have probably just paid off the bike, but I definitely like the payment route. So it's cheap. It's cheap to maintain. It's got the famous Evo engine. It doesn't break down a lot. The maintenance costs are relatively cheap. There's not a lot of things you need to do to the bike other than the 1,000 mile, 5,000 mile, 10,000 mile maintenance. Other than those things, it's for a Harley, it's relatively easy on your pockets if you want it to be. So that's reason number 2. Reason number three, this is something that I've been considering, and like with my situation, I can't go out for really long rides as much as I would like. Hopefully in the next year, two or so, I'll be able to change all that, and I can go out for 1-2 day rides without thinking too much about it. But as is, I can go out for maybe 2-3 hours at a time, and so really with that limitation, I can't go that far. So the Sportster is kind of like perfect for that. It's easy to take around, it's easy to maneuver. It's one of the smaller Harleys in the lineup, obviously. So very easy, very beginner friendly. A lot of people have said this, but it's just a great bike for around town, bar hopping, back roads, because it's so small and nimble. It's easy to kind of throw around and get into the twisties. And I will admit, it is a lot of fun to take the bike on the twisties. I just took it last week through some back roads in Maryland, and I was having a blast just going through those curvy, windy, twisty roads. And I don't think it'd be as much fun on a bigger bike. I could be wrong. I've never really ridden on a bigger bike, but the Iron 83 is just kind of built for those back roads. So that's one of the other factors weighing into my decision here. And also, I've been really getting into photography and putting my pictures up on Instagram. If you haven't checked this out or checked me out on Instagram, follow me at Ironborn Rider on Instagram. But it's great because it's small and nimble, and like I don't have to worry about where am I going to park this. I don't have to maneuver it in a situation where I won't be able to get the bike out or I won't be able to back it up. Because it's relatively small and nimble, I can just kind of park it anywhere and snap the pic that I need, and I'm on my way. It's just really simple. It's great for me because I like to put my bike in unusual circumstances where like it's right in front of it's not really a designated parking spot, but it's like the best spot for the photo. Maybe parking in buildings, take it to the curb, and things like that. It's because of its smaller size, it's a little more innocuous. It's not as glaring as like a road glide, right? Like if you park that in front of something, that's what the Sportster also has going for it. Just small size. There's a lot of benefits that come from that. Reason number 4, to me, it's the perfect bike for modding. The reason for this is because like I've seen a lot of bikes. I've seen a lot of Iron 83s or Sportsters on Instagram, and what's great about it is like there's not a lot of mods that you can go wrong on an Iron 83 or a Sportster. Maybe outside of the Batwing fairing, but like there's a lot of there's a lot of routes you can take the Sportster. You can completely bob it out with the drag bars, cut the fender. It's one of the best looks in my opinion. Or you can go club style with it, get the huge club fairing, get the T-bars, that also looks great. Or you can do what I did, which is just a simple fairing and like a sissy bar and a nice seat. Like, you can go really simple and tasteful, or you can just go full on out. But I will have to say, like, every mod that I've seen, or every like style of Sportster that I've seen, looks fantastic. And I can't, it's a great bike for modding. There's just so many options out there, and none of them look terrible. But I can't say the same for the Lowrider S, the Street Bob. Not to say that it looks bad. Like if you go club style, like it's one of the fewer options you can go with Street Bob or the Lowrider S. Like I haven't really seen a lot of variations in the mods. Maybe it's because I haven't looked too hard, but I feel like I've looked plenty and I don't see a lot of variation. And like, so, for me as somebody who wants to grow on Instagram and YouTube, like having a unique bike, it has its advantages, right? Like people see it and they immediately recognize your bike. They immediately recognize you. I feel like I'm starting to grow that with my Sportster to some degree. But if I change over to a Street Bob, I'm just going to be like another, another Dyna Bro. Like, come on, man. Does the world need another Dyna Bro? So, all kidding aside, I do think the Iron 83 or the Sportster is just like the perfect bike for modding, just because whatever you do to the bike, you can't go wrong with it. Number 5, because it's a beginner's bike, per se, it's the entry-level Harley, and a lot of people have Harleys. It has a huge audience, and like a big community of Sportster riders. I'm in like 3 or 4 different Facebook groups, and they all have like maybe 10, 20,000 people, 10, 20,000 members in the Facebook group. I follow a few Instagram accounts for related to like Sportsters, and like those have massive followings. I'm not sure if the Street Bob or the Lowrider S have those kind of followings, but because the Sportster has been around for such a long time, it's just amassed such a huge audience. And for somebody who likes to ride, like, it's great to have that audience as a resource, for one, and two, for somebody who wants to be a YouTuber, or build up their own Instagram following. Like, that's a great base to work with. The Sportster has just like one of the biggest audiences and communities out there. That's a huge plus. So reason number 6, I can't believe this made it to number 6, but it should be like top 2. But for me, the Iron 83 is just one of the best sounding bikes. And I've said this time and time again if you guys have watched my video. But man, it's just the best sounding bike. And similar to the different mods that you can't go wrong with modding the Iron 83. Like, almost every pipe sounds great on an Iron 83. I can't say that for different Harley models, but like the Iron 83, whether you have Vance and Hines or a Two Brothers exhaust or Bassani, like they all sound fantastic on the Iron 83 or the Sportster. And sound to me is part of that overall experience. When you're riding down the street and you just got this blaring like exhaust behind you, it's just a great feeling. So if I do upgrade to a different bike, I'm sure it'll sound nice. I'm sure it'll sound great once you get the exhaust swapped out. But like the Iron 83 just has that loud rumble that commands attention, and I love that. It's a small little bike, but it has a large presence. So I love that about the bike. So these are reasons why I'm keeping the Iron 83 around for a little bit while longer. I'm still debating whether or not I'm keeping the Iron 83 or upgrading to a Street Bob or a Lowrider S at some point. But to me, it's just the biggest killer for me is that it's not quite meant for long distance riding. I know I can spend more money to mod the bike out some more to get it to where I need in terms of comfort and distance wise, but like at that point it's not really the same bike. I really like my bike the way it is, the way it sits right now. I think it looks perfect, and the way that sits, it's not a great distance bike. So that's my spiel. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Tell me in the comments below why you would keep the Iron 83. I'm sure I'm leaving out a lot of reasons, but these are the ones that I can come up with right now, and it's 10:30 at night. Thank you for tuning into the channel, and thank you for subscribing. From the bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate it. Like, the channel has grown. We've grown quite a bit since we've started this channel, and I really appreciate you guys tuning in. For those of you guys that drop comments almost every video, I notice it. Thank you. I'm glad to be part of this moto vlogging community or motorcycle community, and it's you guys are really what drives me to keep pushing these videos out to hopefully create good content. So again, thanks again, and till then, peace.